Hey YouTube, this is Nash Taters. Welcome back to a brand new game topic which we'll be talking about very shortly in this video. I want people to understand that this game perhaps will have a lot of potential, but this game will not be coming out anytime soon, but is creating a lot of hype within the RPG communities. I think it's also a good idea to talk about this game because me being an avid Final Fantasy fan for a very long time, and my favorite game of all time is, of course, Final Fantasy Tactics. And I think when I first saw the trailer for this game, it really kind of like made me jump out of my couch. And I realized I must cover this game, at least for the time being, and therefore really kind of give you my perspective on how this game will be and maybe how the communities can actually perceive this game. So let's go ahead and talk about Project Triangle Strategy.
He leaves us no recourse! Swords!
Never. S-Frost will answer for its crimes today.
Are these the wages of loyalty? Raised earth and burnt corpses.
You and no other must decide how we proceed.
You are a leader, and must be the beacon others look to when the night is darkest.
Together with these fields, today you burn.
I promise to do all in my power to see us through this safely, every last one of us.
So when I first saw Project Triangle Strategy, I was lounging on my couch and just kind of like scouring through YouTube looking for something new to watch. I stumbled upon this because I guess YouTube decided to put that on my algorithm, whatever, and boy was I glad to see this. So when I first saw it, I was like, wait a second. This looked just like one of those old school RPGs. Upon examining, I realized this game actually looks like Octopath Traveler's graphics. But it is a strategy RPG. Now the current working title is Project Triangle Strategy. It is a game from Square Enix, so you know they're going to be putting a lot of work into it. The music, the character design, the storyline. Now when I first looked at the storyline, it looks very much similar to that of perhaps Final Fantasy Tactics. Looks like there's warring factions, perhaps a little bit of politics involved, maybe a little bit convoluted storyline, but at the end of the day, it's all about war. It's all about people fighting people, and I think that's sort of a theme that almost every single game kind of embraces. But in this game, we have a lot of different elements that's been put into this game that can perhaps separate itself. And by the way, this game is available currently with a demo version on Nintendo Direct. Go ahead and download that yourself and give it a try. But now I'm going to go over some of the different aspects of this game. So let's talk about the battle system. So in this game, essentially, it's much like a lot of the strategy RPGs out there where there's going to be terrains involved. Now obviously you can see you can actually be on a horse and you can hit them from behind, from the side to do more damage. Obviously archers who have longer range can do a lot more damage with longer range. And what's really cool about this game is you actually use the terrains. As you can see, they set it on fire, and that's amazing. So follow attacks essentially is kind of like chain attacks in this game, where if one unit is doing some good damage, and someone else can actually follow up and do another damage, therefore doing more damage. Coordinated attacks essentially will be if you can coordinate certain things by teaming up with your allies. So it's a little bit different than your typical follow-up attacks. This one is essentially one character can actually set the ground on fire or set it onto water, and then another character can cast lightning attacks, therefore combining elemental attacks, doing more damage. This is pretty crazy. Like, this type of design, it hasn't been seen, I believe. Now another thing about this game is you can actually make choices and consequences, ultimately making your decision making affecting the gameplay. Now this isn't anything new in terms of what's been done in games today, right? Like a lot of games have this type of element to their games. So there's nothing new here, But the good thing is you can actually play through this game multiple times, perhaps, therefore getting different results. And I think anytime you have an RPG of this quality looking, it's a good idea to play multiple times. The only thing I could think of would be something like Chrono Trigger, where we have multiple endings, therefore some of the decisions you made will effectively alter the ending of the game. I'm not exactly sure if there are multiple endings in this game, but it definitely seems to be going that direction, since you have to essentially make decisions along the way, and that opens up to a different path of the game. And if you think about it, that's almost infinite type of decision making, because one will open up to, say, 3 more, and those open up to 3 more, and eventually the branching is so big that the ending perhaps will ultimately affect the storyline. Wow, so that was a lot to talk about, but I think in its core, this game looks amazing. Do I feel like this is a spiritual successor to Final Fantasy Tactics? It's quite possible. Now, I think people have been asking for a Final Fantasy Tactics sequel for decades now, and I don't think we're ever going to get it, because many of the people that worked on the original Tactics are probably no longer with Square, and so therefore it's going to be almost impossible for them to create a sort of a duplicate product of Final Fantasy Tactics. But Triangle Strategy looks amazing, and I think it has its own flair with the new elemental combo system, and with the different follow-up attack systems and all these little elements that they're throwing into the game. It seems like you can actually immerse yourself into the game and kind of really just love how this game is presented. Personally, I love the graphics. I think it has a little bit reminiscent of like PlayStation 1 day, and I think a lot of folks are actually also calling it a possibility of sort of reminiscence of Ogre Tactics as well, and I'm a big fan of that game and that franchise as well. So overall, I think this game has a lot of hype, has a lot of I just can't wait, to be honest. But unfortunately, it will not be coming out till 2022. So I think that's something to look forward to on this channel, and obviously all across YouTube, because I'm sure a lot of content creators are going to be itching to cover this game. So I think that's all the time I have for this video. Hopefully I'll be doing more coverage of games that I really want to talk about, or maybe really want to play on this channel. I hope you guys can join me along those journeys as well. So until next time, take care of yourself, all your loved ones. Nash Taters and his family out of here. Take care of yourself. Peace.